poverty, the famine, the drought that was all across Africa. Reading the news used to get me so enraged. I used to wonder, what did these people do to deserve this? I still shake thinking about it. And sometimes I would sigh, I'd give a sigh of relief, just imagining or hearing that the UN is deploying troops to these areas, deploying some food to these areas, and I imagined that parents are sitting there unable to have the moment that I had with my father, just hoping for another day of peace. And so I'd ask my father, can I also go and volunteer? I would like to add to the response. And his answer was always no. And while he said no, I believed that it was a not yet. So I expressed my not yet one day during an essay at school entitled, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" And of course I said, the United Nations Secretary General. You are clapping now. Then they laughed because they heard I wanted to be a secretary, while others were more ambitious, wanting to be lawyers and doctors and teachers. And so for the next couple of essays, I changed my response to lawyer, doctor, teacher, so I could fit in. But I believe that God knew my heart, and so in the meantime, I drank tea and read the news. And as I would trot behind my father at the kettle post, I would sometimes wonder, what is the UN Secretary General up to now? And so I would ask several questions, and there was one I asked, what do you think are the good traits that make for a good Secretary General? So my father responded that one time, integrity, compassion, and purpose. But they started somewhere, he quickly retorted. So I started somewhere. I started volunteering. I gave my time to the elderly. I gave my food. I gave some of my clothes. And I thought, I am well on my way to being the UN Secretary General. It was incredible because I wanted to give. I wanted to be a part of something bigger than me. I quickly realized it wasn't necessarily that I wanted to be the UN Secretary General, but instead that I wanted to be a part of something bigger than just me, and I wanted to add to creating better livelihoods for people. And so at the age of 10, I had to believe that the little food hamper that I dropped off at that one wanting family created some impact. You see, as a 10-year-old, I believe I learned a very valuable thing during the time that got me nicknamed Daddy's Girl, that every little drop counts, but that we are also just a small part of the world, but if we fall in the right places, act in the right manners, then we can contribute to rivers that build and generate oceans. So our impact can be immeasurable as a 10-year-old. And so the words rang in my head, integrity, compassion, purpose. I wondered, what is purpose? As it later turned out, purpose for me was always around me. It was in the words that were said by the community leaders that I often met. And the many words, or the words that I heard many times were, "Motanka ke eneyo." Loosely translated, "Here stands your servant." And so it became clear to me at the age of 16 that I wanted to serve. And so when the opportunity came, I served. And while we may say that my passion for purpose came to me at the age of 10, it skyrocketed through the ceiling at the age of 29, making me the 21st and youngest member of parliament in Botswana. And some say the youngest minister in Africa at the time. But my story is of a nurtured, fed, youthful and hopeful leadership. One that I believe went on to tell a story that indeed African leadership can be youthful and is youthful and female. And I know this because I stand in good company. The likes of Aya Chebi, of Jaha Duruke, and many of you in this room. And many times I go back to the words integrity, compassion, and purpose. And I believe that these are the things that when they come together, they are tied by leadership, by authentic and inclusive leadership, by servant leadership, which I believe and I know that is an African concept. An African concept that has been given strength by our African ancestral inheritance, one in which requires leadership that is driven and is deeply rooted in integrity, compassion, and purpose, because that is the African leadership that Africans deserve. Motanka Kenewendo. Here stands your servant. My name is Bogolo Kenewendo, and I'm a proud African woman.